You got people coming in and out of those buildings all day. So those doors, pretty the most part, staying open or open a good amount of the time. And that's where you're getting the losses, especially that cold conditioned air is really valuable. And losing that is just going to really ramp up those energy bills. So the biggest savings is the ROI simply on just maintaining building temperatures and keeping that conditioned air, that benefit with electrification. As more things become electric and we move away from gas powered equipment, electricity is just going to become more expensive. The demand on the grid's going to become a lot higher. Those energy bills or that ROI, however you want to look at it, it's going to be a lot more expensive. Cool the buildings, so the ROI is going to happen a lot quicker, and the savings in the long run is going to be a lot greater. Very little power usage for a pretty drastic energy savings.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our show partners, UpFrog.
UpFrog is the OG when it comes to pricing transparency online. They find system replacement leads through paid ads and have developed an entire system to drive those hard-to-find system replacement opportunities, nurture the leads, and book them into sold systems before your team arrives to help you grow your business.
Hey, I'm Krista with MarketStorm, and we work with home service companies across the country. Quick question. If another HVAC or plumbing company in your area starts influencing homeowners before they ever hit Google, who gets the first call? By the time someone searches plumber near me, they've already been researching the problem. We use AI to detect those early intent signals and put your brand in front of them. So when they do search, your name already feels familiar. Visit marketstorm.ai or text us at 213-575-5448.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tersh Blissett, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And we have Curtis from Mars today on the show. Curtis
He's
on
like
the
an
show
alien?
today from Mars. Yeah.
I thought we just went around the moon. I didn't think we went to Mars already and pulled someone back. Is this what aliens look like?
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it's funny when I first came to Mars and I was telling people at my old job, like, hey, I'm gonna go to Mars to start work, and half of them were like, I didn't know you were like in a space program. That's pretty cool, man. And at some point, it's like, that's actually maybe a little bit cooler. I'll just kind of roll with that for a little bit, but
Yeah, that's funny.
That's awesome.
So we're going to talk a little bit about air curtains. So if you are in the commercial space, you know what they are. Commercial HVAC space, you know what they are. You've seen them. If you're not in the commercial space and you've ever gone into a convenience store and you've opened the door up and you've had that burst of air rush down over your head, that's kind of what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. But we're going to talk a little
bit. That's what an
bit.
air curtain is. Thanks for explaining that, Tersh.
Yeah.
You don't even need me today.
I literally told Curtis, and for the listeners, I told Curtis before, I'm like, this is great. I'm going to learn something completely new because I never did a commercial HVAC. It was always residential. And I'm like, I have no idea what an air curtain is. But now that makes sense because when you walk into like some of the convenience store, like Home Depots, and especially here, it's really hot. You always feel that air in between the door and stuff. So that makes sense. Now I know what it is. Now I can look and be like, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's mainly, I guess, just a brief overview. I mean, Tersh, you did your homework, man. So good job. That's the general gist of what we're doing. But yeah,
we do tell people he's been in the HVAC industry a long time. So once in a while, he has to use Claude to sound smart. Otherwise, we're going to be discredited really fast.
I have worked on so many air curtains in my career. Like I can do them blindfolded, and I know exactly when I walk up to it, and I know what location I'm at. Like I can tell you how disgusting it's going to be. The dog places, the dog daycare, the doggy daycares. Oh my gosh! Like, yeah, we have to clean them like once a month.
I can imagine. Yeah, and we always, we can do like filters and things like that as well for the dirty environments. But yeah, I mean, really, just to kind of reiterate what you said, we're really I like to use two main benefits of air curtains, and then there's a ton of like sub benefits. I'll call one of those, but it's really it's temperature control, so like thermal separation. And then flying insect control. That's actually how they started. A lot of people just know them as fly fans, right? That was like the first name for them. And then as they kind of got more, the technology improved and we did more R&D on them. All we do is air curtains. So all of our efforts go to, improving air curtains. We kind of came up with these additional benefits as well. So we use them in cold storage. We actually have, we call them clean air technology. So we can put UV bulbs in them. We have HEPA filters. It helps, control and prevent dust, dirt, pathogens from getting in buildings, wildfires. It can prevent smoke from getting in. So there's a lot of other benefits. Yeah. Really, just the main idea of what we're doing, it's a column or a controlled stream of air over an opening to separate two environments.
Makes
It's
sense.
really interesting. Like, so that is what I'm thinking about. So like if I go into Home Depot, because they have like two sets of doors. So the first door opens, obviously you got the heat outside, and then you have like this, you feel like a rush, like all of a sudden it's like it's totally different air temperature. And then you go into the store, and obviously you probably have your normal, units that cool the building from the roof. Am I understanding that correct?
Exactly right. Yeah. And
Okay.
Josh, maybe so I'm kind of getting there. Maybe you might
Talk to
not
me like I'm a
deal with this
dumbass.
as much, but no, what I was gonna say was a lot of complaints are when I tell people that that's what we do. They're like, oh, that's the thing that when I walk in, it blows my hair around. So I'm like, yeah, that's
Oh, I don't have that
messes up
issue.
your
Yeah,
hair a
we
little
don't
bit.
have that problem.
I'm
It
kind of
just
getting there too, though,
we
man.
do know it's cold though. There's no
It's
protection.
all
So
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So what financially, what's the benefits of doing that for those who don't know?
Yeah. So there's a few ways to look at it. I would say first and foremost, the biggest ROI, and we do have an ROI calculator on our website, which those of you that are interested in that kind of thing can go and check out. Is the energy savings, right? So the idea there is, if we're able to protect these openings, especially in high traffic environments, right? Like you said, like a Home Depot, a 7-Eleven, you got people coming in and out of those buildings all day. So those doors are for, pretty the most part staying open or open a good amount of the time. And that's where you're getting the losses, especially, like you said, Trish, you're in the Savannah area. So where it's really hot and humid, that cold, conditioned air is really valuable, and losing that is just going to really ramp up those energy bills. So the biggest savings is the ROI simply on just maintaining building temperatures and keeping that conditioned air, or, conversely warm air if you're in a cold area climate, inside the building. And then I would almost kind of compound that benefit with electrification. I'm sure you guys are aware of that too. So that's really big in California. I think that's kind of growing across the country too. But it's like, as more things become electric, and we move away from gas powered equipment, electricity is just going to become more expensive. The demand on the grid's going to become a lot higher. So those energy bills, or that ROI, however you want to look at it, it's going to be a lot more expensive to cool the buildings. So the ROI is going to happen a lot quicker. And the savings in the long run is going to be a lot greater. The other analogy I like to say is, if you're running one of our, standard commercial units, it's called the low pro. That's typically over the customer entry doors. That runs off the same amount of power as like a light bulb in a parking lot. So if you factor, you just turn off a light bulb in the parking lot, and you're just running the air curtain, which turns on and off with a door switch. So that's not even running all the time anyway. Again, it's a very little power usage for a pretty drastic energy savings.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also the bugs, because
Yeah.
like here you have sand gnats and you have mosquitoes and everything else. And so keeping them out of the conditioned space is very important. And then
Yeah.
a lot of times, like I'm going to use Home Depot because Josh has mentioned it like 12,000 times already in this episode. But there's that one door in the contractor side. I know, Josh, you haven't ever been there because you don't really need to be working on anything at Home Depot from Home Depot. But the contractor's door always gets left open. And people are like, all this conditioned air is going to just escape right out. But what they don't realize is that air curtain is really doing a good job of making it so it's like an invisible wall there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would almost say, the kind of on that same note too, is a big application for us is cold storage. And it's funny, man. I a couple months ago, I was talking with a restaurant owner, and we had met up at his restaurant, and we're talking, and the delivery guy's coming in, right? And they're delivering the produce or whatever into the cold storage box. And, we're talking, and it's like, he keeps kind of like looking over at him, and I'm like, oh, I finally asked him after like 15 minutes, hey, is everything okay? He's like, yeah, he's like, what pisses me off, man, is these delivery guys come in, and all they do is they just prop the door open to the cold storage room, and they're going back and forth with the door open. He's like, that's costing me money, man. Like, it's frustrating. And it was just a really good example of, you put an air curtain there, and it really just helps solves those issues. And like I said, it's a lot faster ROI when you got even colder temperatures versus just ambient temperatures in on it too. So,
and not only that, a lot of people don't realize you prop those doors open and it starts freezing up the coil, and then it turns into a solid block of ice because of you've left the door propped open for an hour, or 45 minutes or whatever you're doing. I see it all the time at like, we'll work on like a Sonic. Do y'all have Sonics over there?
Oh, we do. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And, the delivery guys will do that, or they'll move things from one freezer to the other, like from the freezer to the refrigerator. And both of them are propped open, and they have the little curtains there, the plastic curtains, but half of them are missing because people have ripped them off and stuff. And so then I go in there, they're like, yeah, it won't stop freezing up. I'm like, you have the door, the door's been propped open since I've been here. Like, of course it's going to freeze up. And then it costs even more money because they have to pay me to come thaw it out or fix it and determine whether or not it was an actual issue or somebody left the door open.
Yeah, it's a great alternative. I like to say to the strip curtains. Because they don't get, they're contactless, right? So they don't get dirty. A lot of times, like you said, Tersh, it's like I'll go on some job sites and it's like they'll cut the middle strips out just so they can see through them. So it's like, okay, well, what's the point of having them if you're just going to cut them off anyway? But yeah, you're right. Condensation and frosting becomes an issue too. And it almost becomes a safety issue. We've had problems where more in industrial settings, forklifts slide around and crash, lose control as they're slipping over ice patches and they lose, product or whatever. But, even on a smaller scale, right, for man doors, people walking in and out too, it could be a hazard if you got ice and things like that, building up on the floor. So,
oh, that's super interesting. That's like, just to me, it's just wild. Like, I just figured there was a rooftop unit that had like I don't know, a section where it just blew air like crazy. Because you walk in, like immediately, it's like changes the temperature, and it feels so good when you walk in when it's 110 out, like it's been here this last week.
Yeah.
So we're talking commercial applications. Are there residential applications for this, or?
Yeah. So I would say it's not as popular currently, but I mean, the benefits are all the same, right? So, energy savings in a commercial building, maybe on a different scale, but it's the same kind of concept as it would be in a home as well, or flying insect control too, like you said, Tersh. But we do, actually, I've seen a couple good installs. Typically, they're more like higher end residential type buildings, more for like backyard spaces. Yeah. So like I've seen like a couple where, if they want to have more of like an open seating atmosphere between like the indoor kitchen area and then an outdoor patio, we'll see some of our more architectural units installed there. Or if they have like a pergola type setup in the backyard, so like if you imagine like an awning with a couple of the sides open or whatever, we've done some air curtain installations for those type of applications too. And they literally just put air curtains recessed or whatever kind of along the edges of that pergola, so when they're sitting out in their backyard enjoying the food, they don't want to have to worry about the flying insects coming in, landing on the food while they're eating or while it's being, sitting out on the tables. And then there's also, obviously a temperature control benefit too, if it's really hot or cold out.
Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free.
Quick question. How many calls did you miss last month? Not how many you answered, how many did you miss? Across the home services industry, about 30% of inbound calls go unanswered. And those aren't just tire kickers, those are customers ready to give their business to whoever books first. Breezy fixes that with AI agents that answer every call, they book the jobs for you, and they follow up instantly. So instead of waking up to missed calls, wake up to book jobs. If you want to see how many jobs you're losing right now, go to getbreezyapp.com, use code SBM, and they'll give you $500 towards Breezy on us. Now back to the episode. And maybe I'm just really this dumb, but like because Tersh, you mentioned insects and bugs. I know you were going to say that, and you mentioned it. So how does it stop it from coming in? Because so one thing I know in my home, and it's because it gets so hot so quick here, we don't have a lot of insects, but we have a lot of flies, and they are like
flies, not insects.
Well, okay. we don't have a lot of different varieties of bugs and insects. Pest control is really good here at killing all of them. But when it cut like because we have like fly swatters all over the house because they get in and it's annoying as shit because you sit down and eat and they're just flying all over the place. But like they come in through through one door because they're like just like waiting for that door to open. It's like, oh, and they just come on
Oh
in.
yeah.
Well, how is it preventing insects, flies, sand gnats, whatever have you? How is it preventing it from getting in the house? Like what?
Yeah.
I guess I
Yeah.
don't understand that too.
So I guess, and maybe to specify, we like to say it's flying insect control. So we get that question. We actually get a few questions around that. Number one, can it control crawling insects? It probably could help, but the units aren't necessarily rated for that. A lot of times we get asked, can it help from birds getting in? Unfortunately, we can't blow enough air
I could see that for
to
commercial
prevent
buildings.
birds.
Like I've seen birds flying around ceilings and stuff like that. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw what we were actually in California maybe a month ago for soccer, and we were going through the airport and we saw a bird flying through the I don't know how it got in the airport, but it was in there,
Yeah.
it was flying around.
Yeah. So we haven't gotten there yet, but yeah, I guess to answer your question, yeah. So really, again, it's that controlled stream of air to prevent the flying insects, right? So it's almost like a large gust of wind for the flying insects. So if you imagine a
Okay.
housefly, whatever's flying in, they're gonna get hit with that stream of air. That's really the key of the air curtain. It's that stream of air, which, like you said, Tersh, it's almost like a wall or like a barrier. So it hits that, and then the curtain effect kind of kicks in, meaning, it's not just flying into that stream of air and then tumbling around and getting thrown in the building. The idea is the curtain, it's going to prevent it from coming in and then throw it back out on the side it came from. It's pretty much actually the same kind of concept with temperature control. It's just flying insects, where obviously you just want a little more air to make sure it's a physical object you're trying to prevent versus just, thermodynamic. So
How long can they run? Like if without them drastically shorten the lifespan?
we have a lot of jobs where they're running 24/7. So, and I guess that's a good point too. We claim air curtains are, roughly in ideal conditions about 70-80% effective. But I would say, even a closed door is not 100%, right? Maybe 98% effective. So would it replace a door? I would say no, but a lot of people use them instead of a door and run it 24/7 if they don't actually need, a true closed door. So like parking garages is one that comes to mind. Those are ones where it's like there's really no door there, right? But they like to just have it constantly running. And sometimes actually it doesn't really shorten the life of the unit as much as you would think. Because typically, right, if the unit's working with one of our switches, which cycles the motor on and off as the doors opening and closing, that cycling or inrush of the current there's arguably, kind of counteracts just versus constantly running the unit, if that makes sense. The energy output, I guess, isn't really that much more drastic if the unit's constantly running.
So whenever I don't know if you even have this, and I should have probably asked you this before we started recording it, but do you have a pitch of any sort that you could give to the contractor as far as like a 60-second elevator pitch to the benefit of using this versus if they don't have anything at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would say the elevator pitch version of the air curtains, the benefits, crunching it down, is we're keeping the bad stuff out of your building and the good stuff in. And we're doing so with like I said, a controlled stream of air. So, like I said, there's a lot of things that can come into your building. I could ramble off all of those, right? Temperature, energy savings, flying insect control. But the bottom line is, these buildings are not becoming any cheaper. And, you want to make sure that indoor air quality is good. You want to make sure your HVAC equipment is functioning properly and it's not getting dirty from the inside of the building. So air curtains can really be that tool to provide that layer of protection at the door openings, which are typically the most vulnerable entry point into the buildings.
I want to say you're gonna have to forgive my naive question here. Is it easy to install? Difficult to install? Like what does that look like from a contractors listening to this and be like, oh, I could add that to my offerings because maybe I do some light commercial and they go into buildings and they know right away buildings don't have this stuff. What is that process? I mean, it probably varies by building and everything else, but is it something that's difficult to install or not?
No, it's a good question. They're super easy to install, especially the units that are above the man doors, which I would argue is kind of the bread and butter of what we do. We can do larger industrial applications too, and those are typically, hang mounted by like threaded rods or something like that. But if we're just talking, man door above the entry to a building, for our most common units for those applications, it's really just a back plate that you screw into the wall right above that door opening. And then you literally just clip the unit on, and that's pretty much it. And then, if you've got a door switch, you would probably just mount that, somewhere on the door frame. That just screws on as well. But, that might take a couple hours your first time, but once you kind of, learn it after one or two, it's a really simple process.
Oh yeah, I agree. It is a no-brainer to be able to offer it. If people want to purchase the equipment, do they have to purchase it through their supply house, or can they purchase it direct?
Yeah, so typically we would sell through a local distributor or a rep of ours. Kind of just depends on the territory. Obviously, yeah, those of you listening, if you're interested in using one, we do have like a contact us page on our website. It's just marsair.com. We get those emails, and then we can get you in touch with the correct person pretty easily.
Cool. Josh, you have any other questions?
No, I think I asked all my dumb questions.
Curtis, we appreciate you coming and helping educate Josh mainly, but and our audience.
Everyone else listening to this is probably like, wow, that guy is an idiot.
No, we appreciate it.
I'm literally going to go into this. I'm like, oh, that's an air curtain.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is it's one of those things where a lot of people, when you say air curtain, they don't really know what it is or if that's what it's called. And then it's like, right when I explain it,
it's a weird name, right? Like air and curtain. It's like,
yeah,
it's like an oxymoron of a name. Cause you're like, wait a minute, it's either a curtain or it's air.
Yeah. But every time I talk about it, then it's like, if I see that person again, they're like, after you told me what that was, every time I go into a building now, I see it. And it's like, I never did before. So
well, that's literally like, if you're thinking about a car you want to buy, all of a sudden you're like, I don't see those anywhere. And you start looking at it, you're like, oh shit, they're everywhere. Like you can't not see it then. It's so weird how our brain makes those connections. And it's like, now we see the thing everywhere.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like I've had that happen before. Like, oh, we just talked about that. Now I see it. And you can't not see it. So
and then that's what I add to it too. I say, well, if you see them now and you look up at it, hopefully it's going to be it's a Mars unit. That's the next step of that, that activity there.
Absolutely. Cool, Curtis. We appreciate you hanging out with us. If anybody has any questions at all, make sure you visit their website.
marsair.com. We also do trainings to the public, to customers as well. So we do those webinars almost monthly. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are wanting to learn more, we cover a wide variety of topics, and we get good feedback on those. Those are really helpful. Reach out to us, same spot on the website, and we can get you, on our mailing list to make sure you're aware of those opportunities as well.
Sweet. We appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Tersh.
Appreciate the time.
All right, man.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.